Good evening, and I welcome you to your transformative program, Politics and Beyond. My name is Emmanuel, Jr., the Chief Crusader Against Corruption here in Ghana. And as always, as I keep saying, it is always a delight to be with you every Monday, 8 o'clock to 9 p.m. I know you've been waiting for this program right from 8 o'clock, because before 8, just a few minutes into 8, I started receiving messages and some calls asking, are we not coming on stage? But truthfully, it was also because we're going through the vetting process. And I'm sure you did enjoy what happened or transpired today. And I believe you will be so much interested in that, simply because these are individuals who, at least between now and the next 4 years, or till when the president decides to reshuffle them, these are individuals who are going to make decisions, and they are going to lead the various sectors. Sectors that are going to either benefit or retrogress you and I, our future. And so it's very important that we follow them to really appreciate their mindset and also appreciate what they are bringing on board. And so all is good. We are sorry that we are beginning at this time, but as I indicated, it is all for the benefit of us, ensuring that we have good governance. This evening, as we've always been doing, we are going to have a very transformative program. And indeed, you are also going to have the opportunity to share your thoughts, your comments with us using the various platforms that we have on the screen, including our WhatsApp line, which is going to be exhibited on the screen. We will take a commercial break. And when we come back, I'm going to introduce to you the topic for discussion. And right after having the topic for discussion, I'll introduce to you the guest who is going to help us this evening to engage in this conversation, where you will also have the opportunity to engage with us. It is all about the economy. Just stay tuned. I'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm still your host, Emmanuel, Jr. And as I told you the beginning of this year, we are focusing on the economy. And the reason why we are focusing on the economy is simply because the economy is one aspect that serves as a backbone to Ghana's governance. Whether the governance structure and the system we are practicing will do well or not, it will largely depend on the economy. And that's why it's also very important, as I said, that right after the elections, knowing very well where we are as a country, it is important for us to stop or stop, actually, that's the word to use, stop the celebration that we've been having and rightly go into serious business, because governance is a serious business. Governance affects your life, it affects my life. So the celebration is over. But today, we are focusing on your future, my future. We have about almost a month to end the beginning of this year. It means we have just about 11 months, approximately, to end 2025. And so we still should know that we don't have much time to waste. Today's conversation, we are going to center it on the economy. The theme for today's conversation is Ghana's economy. What do the figures say? We want to look at what the figures say. We want to look at what we need to do. We want to look at where we were, where we are, and where we need to be as a country. And just like I have always been giving you, today again is no exception. We have a great mind, someone who is vested in this area. And I'm talking about no other person than Honorable. He's actually a member of parliament for Sanregu constituency. That should be in Upper East, I guess. Northern region. So Northern region. And he's also a financial analyst. And I'm making reference to Honorable Ataisa. Honorable, welcome to Politics and Beyond.
Thank you.
This is the first time of us hosting you.
Yes.
And we want to say thank you for making time to join us. We know that today has been quite a busy one. How has your day been?
Well, let me say good evening to you and to the station. Today, like you said, has been a very busy day. I embarked on a 2-day thank you tour in my constituency. I returned only this morning at about 9.
Wow.
And proceeded straight to Parliament to support my leader, or my former leader, so to say, the former Majority Chief Whip, who is now a nominee for Minister of Roads and Highways.
Okay.
So I have sat through the committee hearing from 9 a.m. to about 5 p.m. So it hasn't been easy.
I can imagine. But what has been your impression so far with the appointment that has been made, particularly with today, since you sat in like the whole of the day at the vetting? What has been your impression so far with the individuals that has been nominated?
Before I say anything, I would like to congratulate all the nominees that have been appointed by His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. I am very confident in the capacity of each and every individual, and I know they know the challenges that the country we are facing, and they are up to task surmounting those problems. Looking at their individual records, having worked with some of them at the finance committee level of the party, haven't worked with some of them at other committees of the party, and having followed some of them on their parliamentary debates, I have no doubt that President Mahama has indeed is ready and poised to reset this country. Now, I was particularly happy, though with a very mixed feeling, about the finance minister. His capacity is apt for the job, but I was worried, and today even amplified my thoughts, because looking at the challenges that these people have bequeathed to us, he has a serious task to deal with. And today, in fact, it was even interesting when he asked the nominee for Roads and Highways that the total debt or commitment basis, or the number of certificates that has been raised, was about 135 billion Ghana cedis. Meanwhile, the envelope, the total size of our economy, or the total revenue that we generate, is around 200 billion. So it means that the road sector alone will take about 60% of our total.
We'll come into that.
That's what I'm saying, that listening today only gave me an impression that times are hard, and we need to soberly reflect, and we need to also be honest with Ghanaians. We have to, I told somebody that President Mahama, as soon as possible, should address the nation on the true state of the nation. Because President Akufo-Addo did some in January this year. And you and I know that it was just like rehearsing his achievements, instead of telling us, as at the time he was handing over, what is our state. So President Mahama needs to tell the Ghanaian people the true state of Ghana, so that people will appreciate where we are coming from, where we are, and the direction in which he wants to take us. Aside from that, all appointments are apt, And it is my belief that the remaining appointments that will come will follow suit.
I want to dwell a bit more on that, because that is what leads us into the conversation today. You were talking about the fact that the finance minister, no doubt his competence, but looking at the challenges that await him and by extension await us, you are really worried for him. This is not the first time Ghanaians are hearing this about the challenges that we are about to face as a country, the challenges. Indeed, prior to the elections, we were hearing it a lot. After the elections, we seem to be hearing the same thing. Honorable, what exactly is the current state of Ghana's economy?
Okay, so before I answer that question, I didn't single out an individual, at least. He is our leader up north. I want to use this platform to congratulate the former minority leader, Honorable Haruna Idrisu. You saw that his vetting was the shortest. That shows the in-depth knowledge he has. Very versatile individual. 4 ministries, and he has excelled in 3 already. And I have no doubt that he will excel in this field too. So I want to congratulate him. And to all the chiefs that took their time to come to Accra to observe that, we appreciate them. God bless them and return them safely for us. Now, somebody will ask, what is the true state of Ghana? Look, listen, you don't even need to ask. You know why? The true state of the Ghanaian economy was decided on December 7, 2024. The purpose of governance is maximization of welfare. Is that not it? So if the welfare of the people are maximized or the conditions of service of people are improved, they will give a verdict. So when you are going into an election, the ruling government just gives testimony or an accountability, whilst the opposition gives hope. So the truth of the nation address was not even necessary by the president, because Ghanaians gave their verdict. And the verdict was resounding and clear that they were dissatisfied with the performance of the MPP administration. Now, in analyzing the state of an economy, you look at 2 principal areas, the macro and the micro. So, look, today, you heard the road minister nominee saying that the road sector is engulfed with debt. That is what we have been singing since 2017, that these people only knew compounding debt at the detriment of the taxpayer, but to enrich themselves. How can you have a total road debt alone, 135 billion Ghana cedis? Look, you took the domestic and the foreign debt combined from
the debt is what? 135
billion cedis only in the road sector. That is from road fund and the GOG. Now, you took debt from President Mahama at 120 billion Ghana cedis. You rose it up to 671 billion. That is the whole we are talking about. So the finance minister has to do a lot of financial engineering in order to offset this debt. Because it gives you fiscal rigidities. You won't have enough space to even implement a lot of the promises that we have until you deal with the debt. Because no financier will want to extend more support once you cannot meet the current or the existing outstandings. Is that not it?
That's right.
So it means that the finance minister has a lot of work to do in order to inspire hope and to also attract more foreign direct investments. So that's what I'm saying, that if you look at the angle of debt, Ghana is bleeding. Now you look at the bread and butter issue, unemployment. Look, a lot of our colleagues, our juniors, they trumpet so much about free SHS, but you and I know that secondary level education, Ghana hasn't reached a point where secondary level education guarantees employment. Even now, first degree is virtually becoming nothing. That's why people, when they finish their first degree, they easily go and top up their masters and other things. So it means that you can't have an unemployment rate of 14.7%. That is as at 2022. And you expect the economy to be better. You look at inflation. You took an inflation of about 15%, you ended at 23%. That cannot be good. You look at even the exchange rate. Exchange rate wipes away capital of businesses. And I'll share something with you. in global competitive index, Ghana has dropped 7 points.
Right.
You know why? Because of 3 primary reasons. One is because of our exchange rate. Because once they invest so much in Ghana, their investments cannot be predicted. And every business, either you hedge or you do your spot rating, one thing that is so certain in business is planning. If your currency cannot be predicted, how can you plan? The second thing is that, and I said that one of the cardinal sins President Akufo-Addo will forever be remembered for is the collapse of the financial sector. Look, you look at South Africa, Nigeria, and even Rwanda. They are becoming robust economies because of strong financial markets.
That's true.
Why? Banks serves as a medium for trade finance and investment financing, where private entities can go in there, get loanable funds to expand business. It promotes entrepreneurship.
Right.
Is that not it?
That's true.
So if you collapse a bank, it means that you are denying companies loanable funds to expand their businesses. Do you get my point? And they didn't stop there. What they did was that in collapsing the banks, what they quickly did was that any business that wanted money can now do it through treasury bills. So the government participated fully in the credit market. So what they ended up doing was that they crowded out a lot of industries.
Right.
Meanwhile, government cannot create the jobs because of the wage bill. So you are the one going into the capital market, borrowing yourself as against the investor or the business community. And that is how industry grew by negative 2.2%. Yet, they will tell you that the size of the economy is growing or the GDP has grown. It is a jobless growth because government spending keeps on increasing. Yet, it doesn't translate into industry growth. So I'm saying that one of the bad legacy, which is bad, that they have left this country is the collapse of the financial sector. So my prayer is that the finance minister, as soon as possible, will make sure that we increase access to private participation in the financial markets. They must make sure that all locally made Ghanaian banks that were victimized on the altar of political expediency must be re-looked at and brought back to stream. Private individuals, businesses, and households need those banks for financial intermediation. So that is the legacy that I'll talk about as a true state of our economy. Now look at agriculture. I'm from the north. Our primary activity is agriculture. So every successive government, if you want to really uplift the livelihood of our people from the north, you need to develop a value chain that will improve agriculture. Is that not?
That's true.
Now, you cannot tell me that an acre that President Mohammed's time, you could do it for 40 Ghana cedis. Now you are doing it for 200 Ghana cedis per acre. Yet, the income of the farmer is wiped away by inflation. Cost of fuel is the nominal income of the farmer. So it means that the farmer needs to double up resources in order to get an acre of land. Is that not it?
That's right.
Another point is fertilizer. President Mahama time, a bag of fertilizer was 70 Ghana cedis. It rose to 500 Ghana cedis. Even some places, 550 Ghana cedis. So when you make sure, when you do these things, cost of production is high. And once cost of production is high, people cannot optimize their farmlands. And what do you think will happen to price of goods and services? It will go up because demand will be there, yet there won't be commensurate supply. And that is why President Mahama is promising the Farm Service Center that I'm proud of. Because coming from a constituency that is agrarian, it is our belief that once we improve the farming conditions, our people, poverty level will do what? It will go down. And I was not surprised when the World Bank brought a report that almost 1.3 million Ghanaians were pushed below. It was 800,000 and 500,000 more Ghanaians were pushed below the poverty line. So clearly, there is no sector that you can just talk about that is growing. That was good when we came to office. And finally, on the true state of the nation, one thing I will credit President Akufo-Addo for is bastardization of state institutions. Like I was talking about foreign direct investment. Look, there exists serious literature across the world that foreign direct investment improve domestic financial market and promote intra-African trade or trade intensity. So one of the key indicators that attract foreign direct investment, apart from your size of the economy, they look at regulatory frameworks, they look at the good governance, they look at the justice delivery systems. In all these things, you and I know what was the fate. What was the fate of good governance?
Right.
Corruption everywhere.
Yeah.
Justice system was so predictable. You could tell when a case is sent to court, you can easily tell the outcome. Is that not it? So when people feel that way, it means that Ghana will no longer become a trade destination. So right now, the finance minister through the GIPC and the trade ministry have to do a lot more expo promotion in order to change the perception of the foreign companies, because they lost hope. They lost hope. And for the first time in many years, Ghana was locked out of the capital market. A president who inherited an economy in 2017 under an IMF program and handed over the same economy in the same IMF program. Where did we go? Where did we come? That's what I'll say about
That's
it.
a great one. I mean, you've mentioned so many things. Indeed, you were giving an overview of the current economy.
Yeah.
You talked about the debt, which we'll look at. You talked about corruption, which we'll look at. You also talked about even the exchange rate, which is very key to me, very, very important, because if your currency is not stable, it becomes difficult for you to even plan.
Yeah.
Is it the case of, and when we talk of debts, are you able to tell us the current debt to GDP?
Yeah.
What is the state?
So currently we are doing 91%.
91%.
Yes. That is because of the DDEP program we did. A lot of those debts were forgiven by forced forgiveness, not voluntary.
So we are doing 91%.
Yes.
What accounts? Because this is not the first time. Indeed, historically we may say that this is a gargantuan quantum in terms of debt. But not almost every government that comes will always leave behind some debt. What accounts to the for this?
Okay, so I'll analyze it this way. Yes, it's a historical problem for
debt in itself. Is it a good thing or a bad thing?
Debt financing is good.
Right.
In fact, debt financing in literature is even better than equity financing.
Very well.
You know that, because it has a fixed rate that you always know how much
you're paying. Sure.
Unlike equity that it varies with your level of income. So that one, debt is not entirely bad.
Very well.
But excessive debt is bad because whatever you borrow, there must be a plan to pay. That one is clear. Now you ask a question, what accounts for that?
That's right.
Now, things may look similar, but they are not the same. So I can't generalize the past governance that this is the peculiar reason that caused for them. But I just want to isolate a few.
Right.
First of all, Ghana, we must understand that the structure of this economy will not permit any government to be self-reliant. The state, the current architecture that we have, because Ghana is still an import-dependent nation. We are not so export-oriented. So it means that once you are import-dependent, you require more foreign exchange to buy, isn't it?
That's right.
So because of that, we will need more to invest in our infrastructure. First of all, at the roads minister, let me use Adakulo roads. They need a good road, but economic activity there will not be enough to repay Adakulo roads, because if it should be self-financing, the road network in our rural communities or even passing through, the communities itself cannot generate income to pay off those ones. So how do you do it? So sometimes you need external financing to deal with some of those things. And number two too is that exchange loss is also part of our debt problems. And it is not peculiar to this government alone, just that this one is too much. So let me give you an example. Assuming you took $50,000 US in 2016, or 50 million US dollars in 2015. Today, as at that time, maybe a dollar was just 4 cedi. So that would have just been 200 million Ghana cedis. But in the time of repayment, let's say today is a period of repayment, which is in 2025, the same 50 million, can you say you will still pay 200 million? No, because the people will expect their 50 million. But for you to get that 50 million today, you need, instead of 4 cedi to $1, you need it at 15 cedi to $1. So exchange laws contributes a lot, significant amount of money into our debt buildup. And then the third one too is that Africans, most of the time, there's appetite for borrowing because of what we call those book runners, profiteering, side kicks issues. All those reasons can lead to excessive borrowing. But the primary one, like I said, is that the structure. The structure needs to be looked at in order to make us more reliant. And look, if we implement this thing properly, where, for example, you don't create inconvenience on the taxpayer, because one of the finest arguments proposed by tax experts is that for you to introduce a tax, it must be convenient.
Sure.
So if we want to do convenient tax policies that will guarantee people to pay realistic taxes, it will make us to cut our coat according to the size of the cloth.
Can it be that over the past period, with all the things you've said, over the past period, we failed as a country cut our coats according to the size of our cloth? So if that is it, what's different then? If you look at the manifesto that brought the NDC into office, what can we pinpoint from that manifesto that will tell us that the next 4 years we are going to cut our coats according to our size?
Oh, a lot. So let me just give you an example. So first of all, I'll tell you what we will not.
Right.
Before I'll tell you what we will do.
Sounds like His Excellency talking.
Oh, really? If I don't like him, need to hear. Okay, well, that's not bad.
No, it's just a joke. Because he gave. There was a time he was asked a question.
Okay.
What will you do? And then he said, "I'd rather tell you what we will not do." So that's what I mean.
Okay, so let me borrow from His Excellency, the former Vice President. So I will tell you what we will not. Because I had earlier on told you that the reason why the balloon of debt, part of the reason is waste.
That's right.
So, for example, in a period of crisis, do you think building a Bank of Ghana headquarters is a priority? No, what's the name of that swimming pool? The cathedral. If they tell you the amount of money they spent on the cathedral, was it a priority? And you look at what's the name of that? The interchanges, the amount of money they spend on the interchanges, it doesn't make sense. So first of all, the NDC government will prioritize reducing waste. And that is why, I'm sure later we'll discuss the oral program. Sure. That is why the priority is to minimize waste.
That's right.
African problem has always been waste. Waste. Once we are able to eliminate or reduce waste, because the Auditor General told us that misappropriations amounted to 12 billion in 4 years. So yet we went to IMF to borrow 3. Do you get my point? So sometimes you look at as if it's a curse, but it is not. And that's how government in 2016 proposed through the Public Financial Management Act to say that we must reduce the borrowing, or we shouldn't spend above 5% of the previous year deficit, or we must reduce the borrowing for the central government. They were trying to do all those things in order to reduce the appetite of government in excessive spending, so that you cut your coat, you look at your revenue envelope, and it will now commiserate with that of your expenditure. So what we will now do is that, first of all, we are trying to improve on export promotion. And how do we do that? You see, people sometimes they make fun of this when we are talking, because this 24-hour economy, there's so much demand for certain commodities that we haven't averted our mind to. For example, sanitary pads. Right. Do you know that we import sanitary pads? Yeah, yet there's a company in Botiano that can supply it to meet local consumption. So it means that you save a lot of forex. Yeah. So that forex loss, exactly, that forex loss, that will balloon your debt will be out. And there are many other commodities that Ghana have competitive advantage that we can exploit, yet we are not doing. So President Mahama has said he will chair the Export Council itself. That will look at principal sectors that we can invest in order to reduce the dependence on imports. That is one critical area that we need to look at in order to do things to suit us. In fact, I've always believed in local tailored programs. I don't believe in external support, because look, theories are always propounded and new theories always come to counter them. So there is no better or fixated theory anywhere in the world. What you do is to tailor programs to suit your local demand. Number two is that corruption. Corruption should be seen as a crime and must be dealt with as such. People should not be rewarded with corruption, but people should be seen visibly punished when they engage in corrupt acts. I don't think we have to emulate the past. A lot of people want to enter government because of the lifestyles of the MPP. And for which reason, Ghanaians,
of the MPP.
Of course.
Not the lifestyle of politicians.
Exactly.
MPP.
Oh, no, but come
okay,
on.
Please go ahead.
Yes. People, no, I'm being honest with you.
you.
People want to enter government, not for patriotism or service to the nation, but they want to enter government for the lifestyle of what they saw under the Akufo-Addo regime. So I want to urge that people should be visibly punished so that it becomes a deterrent. Because if the lifestyle they were living was something good, the results that they had in 2024 would have been different. So it means that Ghanaians abhor corruption. Corruption was celebrated under President Akufo-Addo, and I think President Mahama's time, corruption will not be celebrated. That is the second thing I think we will do better. The third thing was to improve agriculture and its value chain and agribusiness. And that, I'm particularly happy because under the trade ministry, they've added agribusiness. That means that special attention will be paid onto the agribusiness angle. Because look, sometimes our farmers, there's a gateway they reach, and then it looks like it's sealed. Once they pick it from the farmland, bring it to the market, for most of the time, at the prevailing market rate, when you are the time they harvest, because there's so much supply, prices are not that good. So they don't have storage facilities to keep it and also watch the market. So President Mahama is promoting agribusinesses, converting the raw output that they bring into a value addition. That is the only way we can move. This structure of the Ghanaian economy must be reviewed. We've been using this structure since. If you look at public sector accounting, they will always tell you goods and services, salaries. No, it has to change.
How committed are we? Because you see, all the things you're talking about is exactly what the ordinary citizen or my viewers will applaud you for, because that is what they know needs to be done. First and foremost, we are heavily dependent on foreign products.
Yeah.
The few or even the many that we export, we do that in its raw states.
Yeah.
We don't add value to it. His Excellency Akufo-Addo came promising us that he's moving this economy from a Georgesburg economy. You remember?
I remember.
And what it simply meant was that we are going to add value.
Value, yes.
Unfortunately, nothing of that happened. I mean, it was just rhetoric and talk. How convincing should my viewers be listening to you this evening that indeed, with all these fantastic proposals that you have made, the next 4 years, we are going to see a real commitment to the implementations of the things you've talked about?
The whole thing is our leadership. That's what I would say. The whole thing is our leadership, commitment of the leader. And I ask myself sometimes a simple question. Why do you think President Mahama wanted to return? Having been an assembly member, rose through the ranks to become the president of the republic, lost an election, contested again and lost, and now won. That one would tell you that if it was for resources for himself, I'm not sure he would have been running for president. Right. But it feels saddened. He who knows it, or he who feels it, knows it better. Having built an economy to some level and seen its degradation is a concern for any successful person. So he coming to right the wrong of the predecessor is an inspiration for me. And number two, like I said, it's about leadership. The temerity or the ability to call to people to order when they go wrong was lacking in the previous administration.
That's right.
You must know that it is only two people that we vote for in trust of the welfare of Ghana. You get it? The president with the vice president. Right. Any other person is at the discretion of the president. So I'm saying that leadership to call ministers and other appointees to always remember the purpose in which we were voted. And number two, President Mahama has given, I have no doubt that he is committed to delivery on his manifesto. Look at something. He promised to name his cabinet in 14 days. That's right. Tomorrow ends the 14 days. Yeah. There is every indication from what we know that the 14-day mandate will be adhered to. Look at the rate at which he's appointing. Look at the quality of human resources assembling. He has done a covenant with the Ghanaian people with a 120-day period. In fact, some of them has even come just a week before. You get my point? After the swearing in, just within the week. So look at the speed. Look at the demeanor, the composure. Look at the attitude towards work. Yeah. Tells you that he means well for Ghanaians. He wants to leave a legacy that is built on trust, a legacy that is built on humility of leadership, a legacy that is built on uplifting the plight of the Ghanaians. I think that is what will define President Mahama with. And look, I told somebody 2 days ago that I'm proud looking at the caliber of people President Mahama has appointed. Down-to-earth people, level-headed people, successful people, and how to even relate with the grassroots. Because sometimes one of the challenges that we had, governance is just about delivering on the mandate of people. Right. The people must see you deliver that mandate. So that you don't even need to go and campaign. That's right. And finally, I have commitment that accountability is the hallmark of every democracy.
Very, very important.
And that is where I am interested in. So that Ghanaians should be rest assured that actions and inactions of the previous administration, whether deliberate or not, should be brought to account for the stewardship. And once they do that, future governments will know that any action you do in government, there is a day you record. That's all.
You keep talking about, in fact, let's just do one more on the economy. Then we come to the issue of corruption, because you talked about it. Now, moving from the Georgesburg economy, making sure that we reduce our dependency on the export environment, adding value to the products, strengthening the local content. I'm happy you made mention of a company, you said we're in Kaswa, Botiano, that does, the production of sanitary pad, which can obviously help take care of the demands that we have. We don't need to carry our cedis, turn it into dollars or pounds to take it outside to go and buy and bring it when we can do same here. How does the 24-hour economy assist in the reduction of our dependency on exports?
All right. So I remember this became very topical in the run-up to the election, where a lot of explanations were provided, and counter explanations were also offered as to how it is not feasible, or in other instances it is already happening in most of the debates. So now that the dust has been settled, it is proper that we now use this opportunity to tell Ghanaians why the 24-hour economy. And for every policy that you think of doing, it must be founded on its significance or objective. What is the objective? I believe that proponents of this idea gave us the objective very brief and precise. The idea is to promote export promotion and then import substitution. So that should be the objective, that Ghana cannot continuously depend on imported products. You talked about taste. That's right. People prefer something. Yes. Taste and preferences in literature tells you that when there is no availability of substitute, people drive taste for one particular product and they become stuck to it. So one of the ways of reducing taste of other is to give alternatives. So that once the person tastes the alternative and it becomes efficient, the person will now do switch. Because you look at the switching cost. If you are leaving this and you are going this, and that's why sometimes people don't switch, because foreign products sometimes becomes less expensive as compared to those that they manufacture from here. So when a rational consumer looks at switching costs, if I'm leaving here to here, the cost increases, the person will remain here. So government have to find a way of reducing cost of production from the local market, so that cost our various materials or output will also be what? Lower. So I'm saying that the objective is to what? Promote export and then reduce imports. How will the government do that? The government has already explained that this whole thing, I don't, it's not a policy. Right. People should even get this right. The 24-hour economy is not a policy, it's a framework. It's a framework because this is where you see Ghana to be. This is where you expect Ghana to be, thinking that the world is not Ghana alone. We are in a global competitive world. We have to do something that will keep us afloat with the rest of the world. So government is setting up a bureaucracy that will entitle companies to participate in this sphere. So it is not that President Mahama has won the election, automatically the whole country will not sleep. I don't think that is the objective. And I don't think any economy in the world works like that. They are creating a framework for participating companies to go into that sphere and also what? Access those facilities. He said there will be tax incentives for companies that are willing to operate beyond the usual or the traditional 8-hour period. So it means that if a company knows that I am paying so much corporate taxes, I'm paying so much on my materials, if you are doing your value addition, I'm paying so much input taxes, I want to benefit from that enclave. What will you do? You sign onto that platform in order to benefit from the tax incentive. The concept of free zones, right, is not from that same angle. You can form that company somewhere, but you are looking at the components or the benefit accrued to free zone company, and then you think that roping into that free zone enclave will entitle you to some of these benefits. People will subscribe. Right. Because of Olam. In 2018, they were supposed to pay a total tax was almost about 90 million Ghana cedis. So if you look at a company like Olam, 90 million, and you are forgiven 90 million, you can use it to add more labor. You get my point? The government also talks about the concerns of a 24-hour economy worldwide is security. That's right. Government promises to improve safety and security measures at the various working centers. That will lead to what? Employment. Yeah. Do you get my point? So any company, because of tax incentive, the smart metering program, and other benefits, wishing to join the free zone, the 24-hour enclave, what it means is that they will be concerned for security, and the government will be available to provide. And what is the net benefit? In fact, in Cocoa Board, CPC, and even in Olam production units, they have what called the boom period. The boom period, they institute that boom period when the whole country or people are asleep because of machine. So it means that companies that have resources are those that can even operate beyond the traditional hours. Somebody is promising you that I will give you a smart metering program so that in peak periods or the period that you produce more, government will have a very regulated price for your electricity consumption. Why won't you tap into it? Because you are already doing that, though not regularized. And number 3, government will also use it to do its milestones and deliverables. You are starting a program, 24-hour. Right. Companies should come through the Ministry of Trade and Industry. They receive the presidential staffer on the 24-hour economy with the finance minister. You set targets. At the end of maybe the first 2 years of the implementation of such program, this is the deliverables. Employment, what are we looking at? Cost of production, what are we looking at? Increased production. Because once people start working 24 hours, what it means is that production will go up. That's right. And once production goes up, it means that we will reduce the dependence from the import market. So for me, I wait to see how the implementation will go, but from the little that I've seen, things looks very good, and I will not be able to give you the specifics as to which mechanisms, which legislations. You know, of course, there will be somehow legislations to go. We will be waiting at Parliament to make sure that the president succeeds. But I know there won't be regrets after the 24-hour economy has been implemented. There won't be any regrets.
There's one thing you keep talking about, and I'm personally happy about it, and that has to do with the promotion of the exports.
Yeah.
Not just the promotion of the export, but adding value to our produce before we export them. There's this platform which is owned, and that's why I am happy you keep talking about this, because I am privileged to be introduced to a platform that is solely owned by Ghanaians, and it's a platform focused. It is called Trade Bloom.
Okay.
The focus is to ensure that we add value to the products that we have in this country for export purposes. And the intention, among other things, is to create employment. It is also to ensure that as a country, we are able to bring in forex, hard currency. And I believe these are some of the things that we need as a country. And you also made mention that we even have a department under the trade, which is to ensure that we promote exports. And I believe that these are some of the companies, locally owned companies, that the trade ministry should be interested in
exactly
to work with.
Yes.
So,
in fact, even if you look at the African Continental Free Trade Agreement that we signed, the center is in Accra.
Right.
The anticipation was that by 2020, trade within Africa should have been increased by 50%. Currently, we are doing around 17%. It means that trade intensity and trade integration is core to the African continent. So it means that Ghana should be positioned such a way that we can participate so much in the African stage. Do you get my point? That is why recently African Development Bank released trade financing for companies to participate within our sub-region. So if we don't produce, it means others will produce and we will consume. So that's what I'm saying, that there's so much avenue and opportunities out there for us to take advantage of. In Ghana, we're credited with the quality cocoa. What has become of it?
It's unfortunate.
Do you get my point? So my point is that there are so much in cashew. We have competitive advantage in cashew. We have competitive advantage in cassava. So there are so many opportunities out there for us as a country that we can explore in order to make it an exportable product. So for me, how we do this, how we approach this will be the savior for Ghana, because other people are growing. I was going to Mecca 2 weeks ago. You know, export doesn't necessarily mean to be, let me see, export doesn't necessarily mean to be a good. It can be a service.
Exactly.
I was going to, I was going to Mecca. Do you know what I used to go?
No.
Ethiopian Air.
Happens to Ghana.
But ask yourself, are you telling me Ethiopia, we can't do better? And it is not even about that. The display of culture,
that's true.
the rich heritage they have. You could see that they took you to Addis Ababa as a transit point. Why did they do that? For you to have the benefit of seeing, and it becomes what? A tourism destination. Do you get the concept? So they took you there, their food, they won't serve you a Ghanaian meal. They serve you their food. They build the cost of their feed into the airline cost. So the point is that people are participating in that framework, that trade integration, according to the AFTA program, and even the UN and the World Trade Organization are advising African nations to take advantage of trade integration. That is the only way. Recently, any small thing, we are. That's why I get upset when they tell us that because of what's the name of that thing, Russia-Ukraine
war.
So it is because we were getting cassava from them. Can you imagine? Can you imagine?
The kind of land we have in this country. I'll come back to talk about a bit on corruption, then we wrap it up. And we'll concentrate more or a little bit on oral. And then we'll also look at asset declaration. We'll talk about that. But let me just go to some of the messages that have come from our viewers, since they are very integral part of this whole program. So this one says, Mr. Wilson Jr., please send greetings to Honorable Ataisa for me. Your program is very nice to the good people of Ghana. Keep it up. This is Farihan. I hope I mentioned it well. Farihan from Sanarigu. All right, Farihan. Good evening, Mr. Wilson. This is Al Hassan Fusaini from Daboshi community. Honorable Ataisa is the best choice for Sanarigu constituency. He's the only one that won all the ballot boxes in the constituency, 157 over 157. We say thank you for the support given to us. Is it really true? Wow. Congratulations. Good evening, Mr. Wilson. The state of Ghana's economy is very tedious. It will take Ghana not less than 30 years to recover its good name in both local and international markets. I'm Christian Ekwamwa from Odome Chala in the Oti region of Ghana. My regards to the security agencies in Nkwanta South. Special greetings to you, Mr. Wilson, and to your panelists, Honorable Ataisa. My name is Norbert Yawo Tenu from Nungwa, Krowo, the constituency of Honorable Dr. Agnes Namumu. Okay. Congratulations once again to our newly elected and inaugurated President, His Excellency John Mahama. I would like to congratulate Honorable, okay, I think this message is full of congratulations. Thank you so much. Thank you to Mr. Wilson. We have really enjoyed the program by our able MP for the Sanarigu constituency, and this is Zuberu Katariga. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Wilson. My name is Okasha Fahima from Tamale, Nyohini. Please extend my greetings to Honorable Ataisa, the light of the Sanarigu constituency. I wish him nothing but the best in life. Good evening, TVXYZ. Good evening, Mr. Wilson. We, the good people of Sanarigu constituency, is proud of you. Honorable, keep up the good work. By Coordinator Abdullah. It looks like all messages are coming from your constituency. You have fun, so. Good evening, Mr. Wilson, and good evening to Honorable Ataisa. May the good Lord continue to bless him. He's a brilliant guy. I know, Honorable. Keep it up. And this is Kanlin Maswa. Good evening to you, Mr. Wilson, and my accounting economics teacher back at secondary school. Oh, you taught. You are a teacher. That's nice. I'm impressed about your submissions. Your points are key and straightforward. You are indeed speaking reality and not politics. My name is Emmanuel Puatob, watching you live from Sunyani. Okay. Hi, Mr. Wilson. Good evening. In fact, Sanarigu is blessed with intellectuals. ABA Fuseni another ABA Fuseni has come. Honorable Ataisa will not let us miss Honorable ABA Fuseni. I like his analysis. Indeed, the NDC have the men. This from Philip Kumase. Honorable Wilson, tell Ataisa that he's really the man we need. God bless you and your entire Sanarigu constituency. We are really not regretting choosing you. Good evening, Mr. Wilson. I want to advise the road minister to visit all roads he intends to pay for, because some of the roads were not constructed well or not even at all constructed. Good evening, Mr. Wilson. We, the good people of Sanarigu constituency, is proud of you. I think I've read this. Ataisa, thanks for your submission. I pray for you to become Ghana's Deputy Finance Minister. All right. So this is from Idi from Kumbungu constituency. Greetings to Honorable Ataisa. He always gives out great submissions. The people of Sanarigu are blessed and proud of him. All right. Your name is Andani Habiba from Chogu Yapalsi. Okay. Good evening to everyone in Ghana. And good evening, Mr. Wilson. My regards to my MP. And this is Al-Hassan Tampoli Fusaini. Okay. I'm keeping a close eye on you from Bagu. Honorable Ataisa is truly an impressive figure. I'm enjoying his submissions and I'm even taking notes to absorb as much as I can. And this is from, your name is Osman Abdullahi Dembele. Good evening, Mr. Wilson Jr. and to Honorable. With this knowledge, Honorable is showcasing means Ghana can still prosper in the hands of His Excellency John Mahama. Per what President Mahama is known of, corruption doesn't have space in this government. All right. Your name is Fuseni from Sifi. Good evening, Mr. Wilson. Great Honorable. For me, he should keep on doing that. This is Abu Kumbungu. Good evening, Mr. Wilson. Please, this is Afamusa Tamale. Please greet my lovely MP for me. All right. Good evening. Please send my... Okay, greetings. Wow, it's all about greetings. Good evening. I'm Eben from Kwabinya. Well spoken by Honorable Ataisa, and I'm really impressed with his comments. President Mahama must succeed at all costs. The reset agenda is on track, and no matter what they do, the 24-hour economy will come to fruition. And this is from Honorable Elikpim Akurugu, MP, Dome Kwabinya. Was that? Okay, sorry. It rather says you didn't add your name. You are rather greeting Honorable Akurugu, Dome Kwabinya, MP. All right, that's fine. The alacrity with which President John Mahama is fulfilling the mandate is a clear indication that he means business and means well. It is precedence for future presidents to follow. You didn't add your name. Good evening, Mr. Wilson. Well said, Honorable Ataisa, and this is coming from Camille Botina from Tamale. The approach to our struggling economy by JDM alone is a sign of hope to our dear motherland, especially in terms of accountability. And this is Sunyazi John, inside Doma Ahinkro. Okay, a number of messages. I think this one says, hello, Mr. Wilson. His Excellency Akufo-Addo only came to legalize corruption for himself and his appointees. What everyone is anticipating is how to jail His Excellency Akufo-Addo and some of his appointees. Suddenly, everyone is happy in Ghana because that albatross is no more. And this is Jojo in Taifa. Good evening, Mr. Wilson. Please greet Honorable Ataisa, my MP, for me. I pray that JDM would appoint. Okay, I think this has been said already. Okay, but this one says he will appoint him deputy minister. You didn't indicate where or what kind of deputy you want to give. The messages keep coming, but we are really running out of time. We've taken charge of the few minutes that we lost or we took off, and so we are taking it back. But Honorable, back to you. You keep talking about corruption, which is really dear to me. It's something that I really want to talk about. Unfortunately, we don't have much time. What's your quick impression of Oral so far? What have they done? What makes you think they are doing something in the right direction?
Well, I am not a lawyer, so I won't come from the position of the law.
Right.
I'll come from the position of common sense.
That's right.
To suggest that as the name suggests, Operation Recover or Loot. That's right. It means that there must be a loot for you to be recovered. And the devil is in the eating. So for me, I don't want to be a doubting Thomas. I believe that the membership of the ORA team have been doing their anti-corruption fight, not today, for anybody to accuse them of witch hunt. For example, if you look at Martin Pebu, he has been on this drive for a very long time, and he has transcended two regimes. I remember even President Mahama's time, he was vociferous and very vocal like this. And same way when during the time of President Akufo-Addo. And I know that when wrong is occasioned under this regime too, Martin Pebu will not stop. So for me, his pedigree is not in doubt. And if you look at Honorable Blakwa, the Interceptor General, why did he get that thing?
Sorry, but to skip the persons, we've looked at what they've done so far.
Yes.
We also know their mandate, what has been given to them to do. Do you believe that their activities will yield any positive results?
It will. It will. In fact, when I followed the movements that they have been
right.
doing, and you can see the revelations. Quickly, before, a week after the setting up of that oral team, I read from the Facebook post of the Member of Parliament for Northern, and he suggested that close to over 1,000 petitions was already brought. And that was what I told you about justice delivery system, right. When people can no longer trust in the justice delivery. So people had so much information on misrule and misgovernance, but the appropriate forum to air those views and opinions and facts, they didn't have such platform. So when President Mahama established this, it had high patronage. And that was just a week after its formation. Right. And like the chairman has always been saying, we should expect more. That's right. And if you look at the attitude the MPP is giving to this oral team, it tells you that it's something that is good. In fact, they are even cautioning members not to attend its meetings. If you don't have anything to hide, exactly. Why you want to run away?
And so, I really agree.
So I think that this is just one of the methods of fighting corruption, because once the facts are adduced properly, then it will be presented before the court of adjudicature
or competent jurisdiction to engage in it.
I think it's a good and laudable thing. Right. I don't think it should be disbanded. I think it must continue. It must outlive the presidency of President Mahama. We must institutionalize such a forum where citizen vigilantes and whistleblowers can confidently go, knowing very well that they won't be hounded down, or knowing very well that they won't be Manasseh Azure used this term when
is it witch hunt?
Witch hunt when he traveled to South Africa because of his life was under threat. So I think kudos to President Mahama and the members of the oral team. We expect nothing but the best.
The best, yeah.
Every loot, every peswa that has been looted must be indeed recovered. And I have no doubt it won't be too long. You will see it clear. I know, because I'm also still close to the party.
Exactly. So you know what is going on.
I know that
what will come
a
out soon.
lot of rot is in this country. And even if they start coming to Tamale, to be seen also.
There's a lot that took place in Tamale.
Lands here.
I'm
sure that they started the land issue in Accra.
Yeah. Kumasi, I've heard the same thing happening.
I'm using this platform to invite the oral team to Tamale. They should come and protect our lands for us, for the future.
It's
the
scary.
Lands, God didn't give us the land to consume all in 2024, 2025. We need to leave some for the
There's one other thing, and that's the last question we are going to, or the last area to discuss, still on corruption. You're a member of parliament. Yes. You've taken an oath. In other words, you've been sworn in. Yeah. You are now an honorable member of parliament. Yeah. Article 286 of the Constitution talks about declaration of assets. Yes. Have you done that?
Not yet as a member of parliament, but I did as a parliamentary candidate. At our last orientation that was organized by the Parliamentary Service Board, they organized training for new entrants. And the question was asked like this. I remember when we were filing to contest, the Electoral Commission, one of their requirements was for you to declare your assets, which we were all obliged to duly comply, and we did.
Okay.
So with the Electoral Commission, we are up to date with our assets.
That's right.
So we thought that was the end. We were only told last week that we have to declare it. Now we are members of Parliament. Because at the time we were contesting, what about those who didn't win?
Exactly.
So now that we have won, they will give us the appropriate forum for us to declare our assets. I think it's good, and it inspires confidence in politicians, such that people can track. Sometimes I ask myself, we all know the average income of ministers and MPs and all those things. So when people begin to question politicians, it's because of the lifestyle, the unexplained wealth, the kind of infrastructure and buildings we are erecting everywhere. So asset declaration should be made compulsory and public. In fact, so one of the areas that I think it needs proper review is publishing.
Exactly. And that Crusaders Against Corruption has been consistent on that. Yes. We need to not only declare asset, but it must be made public for the public to know. So from what you are saying, what it means is that almost all, if not all, members of parliament as it stands now, they are yet to declare their assets.
Yes.
Are you able to talk about those that are being vetted? Are you aware whether or not any of them have declared their assets?
You know, so far they haven't vetted a new entrant.
No, but those that were in, not declaring their assets as MPs, no,
okay,
but declaring their assets as ministers designate or ministers who are yet to assume office.
I have no doubt. I have no doubt that they will do that.
Yeah, but you can't be sure now whether they have done it.
No, I can't be sure.
Okay, that is fine. Sure. So it is actually one thing that is very key when it comes to the fight against corruption. We need transparency, and one of the ways to have that transparency, indeed, the Constitution mandates. It's a mandatory, very well. So we encourage and we pray that that will be done. Tomorrow, Crusaders Against Corruption will be having some conversation on that.
Sure.
And so we'll be engaging the public on it, and I'm sure, God willing, tomorrow, all of us will be driven to 286 of Ghana's Constitution.
Yeah.
So then just stay tuned. At this moment, we've exhausted our time.
Sure.
And truly, we've had a very good conversation by all standards, even if you look at the messages that have come. And I know that my viewers, again, will be proud that they have learned a lot or one or two things. We want to say thank you so much, Honorable, for coming.
Welcome.
As I said, I know how busy today has been, not just for you, but for all of us. But we've all been able to make the time to come here.
Sure.
So thank you so much. Again, being the fact that it's the first time you are appearing on this platform, you are going to be a friend of this platform. And so this won't be the last time we'll be having you. There will be subsequent episodes where we'll be having you to help us understand some few things when it comes to the financial sector or the economy.
Sure.
All too soon, viewers, this is where time will allow us. This coming Wednesday, as I indicated last week on our episode, we are not going to repeat it because that is one of the changes we are having this year, that we will not have a repetition of the Monday programs on Wednesdays. But notwithstanding, remember that it is always on our Facebook, on our YouTube platform. So you can always go back to it anytime you feel like referring to something that's been discussed here. You can always do that. It means next week, Monday, is when we'll be meeting again on this platform, TV XYZ, where we'll come to you again with another insightful topic. And definitely we'll have another great guest, as we've always been having. Till we meet again.